Sean Terry here. What is up? I'm pumped to have you guys on this call. We've got a ton of great information that we're going to share with you. And tonight is about breaking barriers. We are going to break some barriers. We're going to break the barrier of fear to get over fear so you can do that deal. We're going to break the barrier of not knowing what to do or being in a position where you're going, I don't know what to do next. I'm going to show you exactly what to do next. and I'm going to we're going to go in. I'm going to show you a deal. We've got Tyler. It's on the line here. I'm going to have him share his story for inspiration that, you know what, if he can do it, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. So we're going to give you all the tools. I'm actually going to give you some free downloads that you can actually go and download my contracts, some seller scripts and stuff. So this is part one of a two-part series. So we're going to do the next part of the series in next Tuesday, and we're going to talk about the next step. So we're going to bring you to a certain point so you can go out and get leads coming in. You can start talking to sellers. And then we've got Tyler. It's on the line here. I'm going to have him share his stories. Feedback. Do you get feedback there? Inspiration that, you know what, if he can. Is that coming from you, Tyler?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I've got my loud feedback. I just started coming through. It's funny, the delay on these things is about 2 and 3 minutes. So anyway, so the bottom line is that I'm going to get you this one point where you get the phone ringing. You know what to say to sellers. You're booking appointments. Next week, what we're going to do on Tuesday, we're going to go into talking about specifically, what to do when you meet with a seller, how to come up with the offer price, how to negotiate, and how to get that sucker sold. Because if you get a good deal, you get a smoking deal, then this business is easy. It's really easy. So we're going to talk about that. So we got a ton of stuff we're going to cover tonight. Here's what basically the list we're going to take you through. We're going to show you the ins and outs of a $22,000 deal. I'm going to show you the contract we did to sign the contract we used to sell it. I'm going to show you the closing documents that we signed that did the A to B side and the closing documents to the B to C side. So you can see exactly. So it's not intimidating to you on how that works. I'm going to actually show you the house and you can see how bad it looks, right? But it's a $22,000 deal we recently closed. Then I'm going to show you a killer new cheap lead source, right? Cheap lead source that is amazing. I mean, it's a great lead source and you're going to love it. I'm also going to show you my best mail pieces, and I'm going to give you access for free to my mail house where you can literally point and click, pick the mail piece, upload your list, point and click, and mail it out when you get the phone ring. And then I'm going to show you our phone system that we use, our online phone system, so then you can tie in, you can track all your mailings. And then I'm going to show you exactly a super seller script I'm going to give you for free that you can download, and it's going to tell you exactly what to say to a seller so you're not intimidated whatsoever. And finally, we're going to talk about how to do this and time manage it around your job. So having Tyler here is phenomenal because Tyler had a job, right? Was working a job. He got started, and read the book, and I'll let him tell the story. But then went out, and now he's a full-time real estate investor. He went from getting started on a part-time basis. Then he quit his job, went full-time, wholesale properties. Now he's actually into rehabbing properties, right? And then he's we're talking on new construction projects. So he's progressing and maturing as a real estate investor, which is phenomenal. So let me go back here to Tyler here. Tyler, what's up, Big Daddy?
How you doing, Sean? I'm excited.
I'm doing phenomenal. I'm rocking and rolling, of course, and having a blast. And I can't believe it's already May. You know what I mean? That's almost the end of May, right? Middle of May, and now we've got June coming up. Can't wait for summer. Summer is my best time of the year. So cool. So people that are on here right now and listening, what was your real estate experience? What did you know before we kind of met? Have you done anything before?
So what my start was, I come from a family of entrepreneurs that were in the manufacturing industry in Michigan with the big three, Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler. And I knew from a fairly young age that I'm not really wired to be an employee. and I wanted something better for myself than just working for somebody. I think it's in my bloodline.
Right.
So I went to college and got a degree in pastoral theology. Met my wife, who's from Durham, the Raleigh-Durham area. We came down here and bounced around on a few different jobs, and landed a job with Orkin Pest Control as a salesperson. And I knew if I had to have a job, I wanted to be in sales because I'm good at sales.
Right.
And so I was doing that for a while, and the whole time I knew that it wasn't me. So I picked up a copy of Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is a great book. And Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki talks a lot about real estate. And at the time when I read the book, and even after I read the book, I thought that a successful real estate investor would finance a house, put tenants in there, and cash flow maybe a couple $100s a month. And that's what the real estate investing was.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. So
Right, yeah. I mean, I had no experience with it other than what I'd read. So I started reading while I was still working my job. I was looking for books to download and to read and to buy, and I came across your book on Amazon, and I think it said make $5,000 in 30 days or something like that. And to me, I thought, this sounds a little scammy. I don't know if this is for me, but the book was free, so what the heck, why not?
Yeah, what the heck, right?
I downloaded the book. I read the whole thing on a Sunday afternoon, and I didn't really grasp the concept of wholesaling. I'd never heard of it before.
Right.
So I read it again. I thought I'll read it one more time. If I still don't get it, I'll put it aside and just keep doing what I'm doing.
Right.
And after the second time I read it, it hit me like a bolt of lightning. I thought, this makes sense. I could do this, and I think I could be really good at this.
Wow.
So I went to work. This was June of 2012 when I downloaded your book.
Right.
And once I felt like it was something I could do, I bought into the Flip2Freedom Academy.
Yep.
And I started going through the modules and putting stuff together and putting the pay-per-click together. And
well, how did you do this working around your job? So you had you had a full-time job where you're in sales as pest control. So I know for me, we use Bulwark, right? If you've heard of them. And the guys go around from house to house, knock on the door, come over, and they're going to spray your house for bugs and stuff like that. But did you do the actual spraying of the bugs, or did you sell the service?
I sold the services.
Okay, so you were still probably out and about talking to talking to businesses or sellers, people, doing stuff to be able to sell this stuff, right?
Yeah. So the 6 months that it took me to go full time. What my typical day would consist of is I get up pretty early, like 5 or 6 a.m., and I would work on the real estate business. I would go to Orkin and do my thing there. And I had a lot of windshield time, fortunately, with Orkin. So I would listen to about 2 to 3 podcasts a day, mostly yours, Alex and Joe, the Real Estate Investing Mastery. I listened to a lot of theirs. Yep. And anything I could get my hands on during the drive time. Then when I got home from work, I would work until I went to bed. Right. So it started driving my wife nuts, toward the end. There really wasn't much personal time. And I told her that it was going to be like that, but, that things would eventually change because I believed in it.
Yeah. So you basically work an hour or so in the morning, a couple hours, and then a couple, then 3 or 4 hours at night. And so you built this whole initial business around just working on those time frames then, huh? Yeah. So it is a sacrifice. People go, well, I don't have any time to do this. But think about if you didn't sacrifice the time, then you'd still be, selling bug stuff, right?
If you don't sacrifice, you'll never get what you want. To me, sacrificing sleep, sacrificing relationships in my personal life on a temporary basis, it was what I had to do. Right. And I knew that.
Yeah. And your wife bought into it. It's not like, honey, I'm doing this or, whatever. I'm sure you had a conversation with her just like most people do and sit down and say, here, I really think this can happen. And, and you both took bought in on it.
And at the time we didn't have my daughter yet, which was nice. No kids made it a lot easier, which I would have done it anyway. But yeah, I sat down with Jessica. See, we had worked for about about a year and a half up to this point. We knew that this was coming. I just didn't know what industry, but I knew this was coming.
Right.
So we went on this ultra tight budget where we wouldn't spend anything. I mean, I wouldn't spend more than $20 on food between the two of us when we went out to eat. So that meant we always drank water, never had an appetizer or dessert. And when I went to quit my job,
$20, it's like Burger King, right?
Yeah, we basically, when we went out to eat, we did the 2 for $20 at Chili's. That was it for a long time. Didn't spend money on anything.
Right.
So when I did quit my job, I was out of debt. I had a little bit of debt when we got married. I was out of debt and had $19,000 saved. So that helped too. Right. So we were already kind of making like preliminary sacrifices leading up to this point.
Right.
And this was the moment that the wheels actually started to turn, and so I had talked to her before and then during the process, and I would make sure that, at least once a week we could spend time together. But yeah, it was getting up early before work, and it was work until I went to bed. I mean, I went to bed thinking about it, and I woke up thinking about it.
Wow.
And I let it totally consume me because I felt it was worthwhile. And
so let's talk about you put some time in the morning stuff, and let's talk about your first deal. So you put this time in, you did essentially some marketing, and you did your first deal. Take us through that process, and then we'll take it from the first deal to your first year, and then where we are today.
Okay, so it's kind of a long story because it took 6 months to make it happen. The problem I had, Sean, when I first got started, that I've since learned, and will tell everybody that's listening, is you can't be too analytical. And when I first got started, I thought I had to understand everything, all the science behind the philosophy, the theories, understand all the contract. And I took too much time on the details of the business and not enough time in front of sellers, which really at the end of the day, that's the only thing that matters, right? My motto now is that everything I do is secondary to talking to sellers. There's nothing I do in my business more important than talking to a seller. I didn't get that at first.
Right.
So what happened is I was on commission at Orkin Pest Control, and I was at one point a top, would pretty regularly be in the top 4 or 5 salespeople in the entire state of North Carolina. Wow. When I read your book and decided I wanted to be in real estate, I couldn't focus on my sales job anymore with Orkin. So my sales went from being way up here to literally some months I was the worst in the whole state because I couldn't focus on it, and I knew I wanted to be out. Right. So I was on the brink of getting fired most of the time while I was getting my job getting the real estate going.
Right.
And I think that kind of added to the stress and part of why it took me so long to do my first deal. But I started putting out bandit signs. Eventually, I got to the point where I started putting out bandit signs. I started with the pay-per-click and didn't really understand it like I do now, and spent a little too much money doing things wrong. And I also ordered a couple of yellow letter mailers to some absentee owner lists that I got from ListSource.
Right.
And the deals were coming in, the phone calls were coming in. I was taking all the calls myself and got my first house under contract. This was probably 2 months in.
Right.
And then I had a guy come out that I thought was a buyer. It was just another shady wholesaler trying to daisy chain the house. I thought it was but he came out and he said, yeah, I'll do it. And it was a $3,500 spread. So I'm all pumped thinking I'm going to close my first one, within a couple of months, $3,500. Right. Well, of course it fell through. Yeah. And then I had another lead come in.
Now most people would quit.
Yes.
They would get they because of the excitement. There's so much excitement about, oh my gosh, I got my first deal, and then you get a buyer, and you go, oh my gosh, I got a buyer, and then you go like, holy cow, you're just pumped, and then it falls through. In this business, I always say it's like a roller coaster. So you're just going, whoa, going up the roller coaster and then crashing down hard. Most people are just like, I can't deal with this, man. Especially you're putting 2 months into it, and you thought you were at the finish, or at least get a check, or get some return on it. And didn't. So I commend you for sticking with it. Okay, so keep going.
So that one fell through. And then about a month later, a lead came through on the pay-per-click that I wish I had today because I could have made a lot of money with it, knowing what I know today.
Yeah.
So I signed this house up. I met with this lady, We negotiated down to $74,000. This is a $135,000 house, and it wasn't in that bad a shape.
Right.
So the next day I went back to get the contract signed. She wanted to think about it, and I couldn't get her to pull the trigger on the spot. So the next day I go back, and she already started packing. She was living in the house, and we signed the contract. And I don't know if I can actually close this thing or not. But I went ahead, in spite of how I felt, I signed the contract.
Right.
Long story short, for various reasons that just basically from a lack of experience, the deal fell through. I didn't make anything on that.
Oh.
So then I had another one come in.
Wow.
That was also from pay-per-click that was in Raleigh. And I did the typical mistake a lot of new wholesalers do. I underestimated the repairs and I overestimated the ARV. And that one fell through. And then I had a fourth one come in that I thought maybe I should try a lease option. And I got these people to agree to do a lease option. I signed the contract with them and started to market the property. Didn't have any tenant buyers. Brought about 5 or 6 buyers through that I was able to find through Craigslist, and that one fell through. So
that's that 4 or 5?
That was 4.
Okay, 4. Okay.
The fifth one I had under contract was the first one I actually closed.
So 4. Wow. See, guys listening, I mean, that is persistence. That is having a dream, having a focus, having an aspiration, and then just completely just tying into it and not giving up. You know, it's so that's amazing. All right, so you got the 5th one now.
Yes.
Right. And did you have doubts? You're like, I don't know, but you must have been.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I know me, I know my attitude, and I believe that if I couldn't make it work by now, then in my mind, I thought maybe the system, this wholesaling real estate system, just doesn't really work. So I did have doubts, yeah, but I had enough belief to keep pushing.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, by the time I got to my 5th deal, I'd spent over $7,200.
Wow.
In
marketing, pay-per-click, doing stuff like that. Wow.
Yep. And I hired someone to set up an LLC for me, which I never recommend you do until you do your first deal. Like I said in the beginning, I made a lot of mistakes, too much analyzing, setting up the business instead of just getting leads coming in.
Right.
So I had spent $7,200. It's now December. I started in June. It's now December, and I've spent $7,200. I'm failing at my job. I'm not making crap because I'm on commission, and I'm about to get fired. So if I back up a few weeks before this, my boss called me in at work. We had this big meeting for a bunch of different things. My boss called me in and was going to fire me because my sales were so bad, and he didn't want to. They gave me a lot of opportunity because I'd been a very influential salesperson for them and had a great relationship. And Orkin's a great company. I love them. Still to this day, I love them. And I explained to him that I was just going through a lot in my personal life, which I was, stuff I won't get into on this, unrelated to real estate. But and he said that he would move me over to a pest control route where I'd actually do the spraying.
Right.
Not have to worry about performing and stuff like that. Actually, I'm getting my timelines a little mixed up. This all happened right as I was closing my first deal. So anyway, so we had this conversation, and I'll tell you what. Let me back up to the first deal, and then we'll pick up where I left off on that.
Okay, cool.
It's been 2.5 years ago, so I'm getting some of it a little blurry in my mind. So
and now you got too many deals under your belt, so
exactly. I'm not too worried about the past at this point. But so my first deal, it was the 5th one I have under contract. This guy calls off a bandit sign, and it's a townhouse in the hood. I mean, it's like the hood of the hood, just a super ghetto area. And this guy calls in, and he said he wants $17,000 for this apartment, or this townhouse.
Right.
Yeah, or I think he said he wanted 20. I told him maybe I could do 15, and we agreed to 17. Right. I didn't know if I could move it. Anyway, I brought in a guy I knew that liked buying in the hood for buy and hold stuff, and he said that he would buy it for $23,000. So I thought, well, this is fantastic. I've got my first deal. and I signed the assignment agreement with him. Well, literally, Sean, 2 days before the closing, we found out that the HOA doesn't repair the exterior. The house had wood siding, and it was all rotted. The carpenter bees had tunneled holes into it, and it was in horrible shape. It was like $4,000 or $5,000 worth of work to replace that siding. And all along, up to this point, we thought the HOA would cover that, which they usually do, in a townhouse scenario.
Yeah, most.
Yeah, this one didn't. So, so the guy told me, he said, I can't buy it at this price. 2 days before closing.
Oh.
And I got so upset. I was so upset. I'd spent this money, $7,200. I'm failing at my job. I'm not making anything. And I called my wife out of frustration, and I said, if this doesn't go through, I'm going back to school. I'm going to get a degree in medicine. I'm too smart to be doing pest control. And,
so that's a whole different direction, right?
Yeah, that was more so me venting, I think, just out of frustration, than anything. But I decided, instead of quitting, once I kind of cooled down and took the emotion out of it, I just needed to get creative. So I called the seller. I walked him through the whole thing on why we couldn't close at this price, and I explained to him. I had him call the HOA to confirm it, and I got him to do a $5,000 drop on the price 2 days before closing. Right. So my contract price with him went down to $12,000. Right. My contract price, my assignment agreement, I should say, with my buyer was for $5,000, so it was $17,000 purchase price, and we ended up closing, and I made a $5,000 assignment fee.
Right.
That was my first deal. I finally had proof of concept, and this was literally happening the same week that I was starting to tell you at my job, where I almost got fired.
Yeah.
And after I had the proof of concept, that was all I needed to believe in this thing. I needed to see it work.
Right.
And once I saw it work, and I had this conversation with my manager and almost got fired, I left there. I went into a crawl space when I was supposed to be doing a termite inspection on, and I'm in the crawl space, and I start crying, and I'm crying, and I'm praying, and I'm asking God, what do I do here? Right. And I don't really know how to explain it, other than that I just knew what to do when I got out of the crawl space. Mm-hmm. I knew that was my last day at Orkin. Wow. So I closed the deal. I got the check. The next day I went in and turned in my 2-week notice, and I ended up leaving that day because they didn't really. That time of year, it's real slow in the pest industry, so they didn't really need me. So I left and just went full time. Wow.
So $5,000 check, your first deal. Was it? No wonder you were crying. It's like just cheers of joy that it's that it actually worked. So now let's bring us. So now, and what I typically teach is do the business part-time, and then accumulate at least 1 year of cash in the bank, then quit, be a little bit more safer. But you did like I did, I got a check and I'm like, I'm out of here. Let's just go. Mm-hmm. Then it becomes a scary thing, because now the security's gone, the paycheck's gone. Now, you work just on commission, or is it commission like in the salary?
I had $1,000 a month salary. And
so really nothing major.
Yeah, $12,000 a year salary.
Yeah, no big deal. So for you, it would either you can spend your time looking for more houses, or you could, on the worst case scenario, make $1,000 a month. Okay. So so what happened then? So you closed your deal, Google AdWords, got the deal. This was good. Could that come from a Google AdWords lead or what?
That was a Bandit sign.
Okay, that was a Bandit sign lead. Mm-hmm. So then that was December. So now in 2013, what happened in 2013?
So I quit literally like right before the new year, mm-hmm. and went full time in January of 2013.
Right.
And I just went to work. I realized at that point a few things. I realized the first is that I can't do it all myself. Mm-hmm. And I finally started buying into the concept of outsourcing, and not feeling like I had to. I mean, at first, Sean, I was writing my own yellow letters.
Yeah.
I've
been there. I've done it.
Shoot me in the face. That is, I would handwrite the Bandit signs and then go put them out myself. I would screen every call that came in, and I realized that if I wanted to make money, I had to get away from that, and I had to be able to put people and systems in place that I could trust. Right. So one of the first things I did is I started working on building a system that was automated and that was outsourced. So, I started using click to mail for my mailers, doing it myself. I eventually hired a guy that I use to this day for my bandit signs. And at first I went with Pat Live for the calls that were coming in. I eventually switched to a system similar to yours, that with the virtual assistant and the voicemail system is what I use today. And that first year, I managed to close, I believe it was 14 deals. It was a little over one a month that I averaged. Did 138,000 in revenue, and the net profits on that, my overhead was not bad. My net profit was over 100 grand. I think it was like 110, 111,000, something like that. Low hundreds. My first year.
What was your best years as a bug salesman?
Somewhere between 55 to 60,000.
Wow. So you went full time, got started, and then boom, over $100,000 excluding expense, and expense 100 grand net to you.
Yeah.
Was your wife pretty pumped?
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. It was so great because she had spent 6 months dealing with basically without me. I wasn't there, and then the year and a half before that, she really didn't get a whole lot. We rarely went out to eat. She didn't really go shopping for herself. We made a lot of financial sacrifices to get us to that point. So It was really getting to the point where not only were we making good money, but the time, the freedom. The second part of your company name, the freedom.
Yeah.
Of being able to work from home, of being able to go out and do things, to take a trip, take a vacation, and not have to ask off or worry about if stuff's going to be handled or not, or if I can get the time off. Even if I made the same amount of money, just the freedom of it.
So when was your daughter born? That was like 8, right? Almost a year ago now?
14 months now. She was born March last year.
Right. Okay. So that brings us to 2014.
Yes.
So for 2014, right? How'd you close out 2014?
So 2014 ended better than 2013. It's 2014 to me was a great setup year. I did make more money. I made about $30,000 more than I made in 2013.
Okay.
So net once everything was closed out.
Yeah.
It was
still another $130,000. So that's in this venture now you're talking $230,000 net profit after expenses and stuff. That's amazing. Okay, keep going.
So it was kind of a transitional year. My daughter was born.
Right.
I was in a partnership that I ended with a good guy, just for personal reasons. Very good guy, and I decided right before my daughter was born that it wasn't right for me at that time, and I ended a partnership, and that was a few weeks before my daughter was born. So that, and then my daughter being born, I basically had 2 months where I really didn't get a whole lot done. It's just resetting up the company myself. And then I actually went into partnership with one of my cash buyers, a guy that I'd been wholesaling houses to, who was a big time rehabber in the area, doing a little over 20 rehabs a year. Wow. And so later on in the year, he and I got together and, we did an evaluation on the companies. I had to do a buy-in because his company was a lot more profitable than mine. So I did the buy-in, which I was able to fund the whole thing with basically with 2 wholesale deals, my whole buy-in. And I had a good year. It was a great year. It was very profitable, but it really set me up for a great 2015 forward, which is where I'm at now. My company today is very different than it was when I first got started.
Yeah. So now you progressed from writing letters, writing bandit signs and putting them out to them, having to now building, you have the AdWords campaign, building it to where you did 100,000, 130,000. So now you're in a position where you brought in a partnership. Now you're actually doing wholesaling, but also fixing and flipping. So now, so you've kind of matured in the process. So now from this point, how have you done so far going, for the first 6 months of June? Up till now.
So I've got, 2 of my flips, my rehabs, are on the market to sell. One's under contract. One just hit the market a couple weeks ago, and we haven't sold yet. Obviously, it's active in the MLS. And I've got one of my other ones that the rehab is almost done on. And based on the comps and what my budget is, once I sell the 2 that are on the market and this one that I've rehabbed, I will have already this year made, geez, I don't even know, probably $75,000 more than I made in 2014.
Wow. So already the first half, already 107. That's pretty good.
Yeah, well, I'll put it this way. With my new partnership, the way we're setting things up, I mentioned to you earlier, you know, we're getting into new construction and building an actual company. And my partner and I are going to go a year and a half with no income.
Right.
And the next 18 months, we're going to put it all back into the business so we can build the thing up faster.
Right.
And I've got enough money to increase my standard of living, pay myself a salary, pay all my taxes, and have almost 70 grand left over.
For just security purposes.
Yeah. Not worth of income and a slush fund about that big. Just like I said, once I sell these last few, you know, these are the last few I'm going to collect income on before I do my 18-month stretch with no income.
Right.
And I don't even, I mean, I just bought a house. I was living in a 1,300 square foot house when I started. We closed on the house we're in now, April 23rd. It's almost 3,000 square feet. It's in a much better part of town.
Wow.
I gave myself a substantial cost of living increase. My wife is a stay-at-home mom. She got a realtor's license. She's part-time, you know, very part-time. But she's basically a stay-at-home mom. And going 18 months with no income, and my lifestyle is way better than it was when I was working 40 and 50 hours a week.
Now you get to come and go as you please. You get to go to projects. You get to do stuff. You know, if you want to come home and have lunch with your wife, you can. If you want to take a day off and, you know, hang out with your daughter for the day and hang out, you know, because 14 months, isn't that a great age? I mean, that's a great age to be able to be around. I mean, I wake up, I make my daughter breakfast, you know, see her off to school. Then I make my other daughter breakfast. I just came from, you know, she sang for a talent show. My younger daughter, 12, and sang. But I've been at every single event, every single tennis match, every single everything. You know, and it's the lifestyle is actually, it is ridiculous because you can, you know, of what you can have and do, and then increase your standard of living and continue to grow it. So you're going to take this 18 months, dedicate it, plow it into the business. But, you know, I can't even imagine what's going to come out on the other side. You know what I mean? For business profit and revenue and projections and stuff like that. So,
yeah, I think looking at the trends and our P&L sheets and studying the market and where we're going, I think 2017 will be $1 million year.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, does that feel weird for you to say that you were a bug man just a handful of months ago, you know, making $12,000 a year salary, $50,000, you know, on commissions and stuff like that. You picked up a book on how to quit your job, you know, flipping houses, make some money. And all of a sudden now you're running a profitable company that's, you know, could do $1 million a year in revenue just for you. Just that's not including your partner. So is that kind of surreal?
I knew I would make that statement at some point. It just happened much faster than I thought it would. I mean, I'm only, you know, 28 years old.
Yeah.
I didn't think by, you know, this age things would be going on the trend that they are this quickly.
So all your friends, your previous friends, all your bug friends and stuff, family and stuff like that, and they kind of see you now, you know, from where you were and where you are today, you know, that's a stark difference. I mean, that is such a massive contrast from, you know what I mean? So is it tough to hang out with them?
Well, that's a good question. See, I only ever liked to hang around high performance people from the start, you know, aside from my family. My family is on my mom's side, they're all entrepreneurs. So that's not a problem. I actually enjoy being around them more now than I ever have because I appreciate You know, my grandfather had over 200 employees at one point.
Right.
And I can appreciate the stories and some of the things they talk about more. And the only guys I really ever hung out at Orkin with were the top sales guys. Because the one smart thing I did when I first got started is I didn't hang around people that weren't where I wanted to be.
Right.
You know, or at least in that mindset of being a performer, not the people that are struggling and just trying to make a sale. I want to be around the guys that are making all the sales. So a couple of the guys I still keep in touch with. As far as my personal friends outside of that, I've got really 2 close friends is what I have. One of them is also a business owner. He was always a motivated, driven guy through college. He's now a business owner. And the other guy is in broadcasting and making his way up in the sports broadcasting world way faster than he should. So I actually like being around with them, those 2 guys, because it's kind of a similar drive. You know, all 3 of us were up early, we're up late working, and
cranking it, man. That's awesome.
But as far as like, you know,
oh, your high school buddies.
like I mean, like I said, I've really got 2 guys I socialize with on a semi-regular basis, and that's really it. You know, and both of those guys are very motivated, driven, entrepreneur-minded type guys.
Right. Okay, so there's a bunch of people on here, and they and I kind of sent an email asking for some people's feedback and stuff. So you know, from your perspective, you know, there's a lot that came in that, you know, people think that you have to have great credit to be able to do what we do. They think you have to have tons of funding, you know, aspects to it. Now, when you do fix and flip, or you're going to buy and hold, yes, you're going to need funding. But to wholesaling what we do, they think you need funding to be able to do that. There's the fear and the mental block of the unknown of what if it doesn't work? What if I can't make it work? What if I can't do it? And then just the overall just getting started, you know, of that, that overanalyzed type of thing, you know, before they jump in. So, you know, that person, and they might have a family and have kids, and you know, and they're working and stuff. What would you tell that person? You know, now you've been there, you've done it, now you've progressed to where, you know, done phenomenal things. You know, what would you tell them?
My general advice to somebody would be, you know, I see so many guys that just love the theory of being a real estate investor. They love to be able to tell them, you know, to tell their friends, yeah, I'm breaking into the world of real estate and never do a deal. You know, get the little LLC set up and never actually do anything. I mean, the biggest thing, Sean, goes back to what I said earlier. You have to realize from the start a few things. The first thing you have to realize is that everything is secondary or lower to talking to sellers. Nothing's more important than getting a seller to call you or fill out your stuff online or whatever it is, but reach out to you in some way about selling you their house. There's nothing more important than that. The second thing is that you've got to strike while the iron's hot. I can't tell you how many times I've called a bandit sign and even posed as a seller just to see who it was and get them to call me back. And I get a phone call 3 or 4 days later.
Right.
You know, you got to be Johnny on the spot with these people.
Right.
And you got to realize that the less you do, the more you make. You know, I make a lot more money now with having a virtual assistant full-time that I pay. I have a project manager, a stateside employee that's full-time, works for my partner and me. Right. All my stuff is outsourced, so I've got a lot more overhead. I mean, this year we'll run over $100,000 just in overhead.
Right.
But I'm making a lot more because I'm spending my time focused on the stuff that puts money into my pockets. So what I would tell the guys that are just getting started is you got to prepare to those things. You have to prepare to sacrifice anything that's worthwhile, and this is worthwhile. Flip to Freedom. You know, I would say join the academy, soak up as much information as you can, but don't. Prepare to sacrifice, prepare to have very early mornings, very late nights, and don't get stuck in the details. Within 30 days of joining the academy, 30 days at the most, you should be ordering your mailers, you should be putting out your bandit signs, getting your online stuff together, or however you're going to do your marketing. Right. You know, what you're going to do, you should be doing that. And you can't be afraid to fail. I mean, the first time you sign a contract is going to be terrifying.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, you know, there still are times where one of my rehabs that's going right now, it's almost a $500,000 house.
Yeah.
I was a little nervous even at this point when I signed that contract. That's a lot of money to be playing with, you know,
Right.
Which it wasn't a wholesale, obviously it's a rehab, but you know, realize that you're going to be nervous and you're going to be scared, but you can't listen to that.
I think the only purchase contract that I was really, really nervous was a $13.2 million apartment complex that we were in escrow. That one, I was like, okay, this is a big project, you know, we're doing, but
I think
but you graduate to that. You don't do it the first day. So, you know, whether it be a $13 million contract or a $500,000 contract, or it's a contract for 50 grand to a seller, you're going, holy cow, this is you know, something that's amazing. So
I think I'd lose a little sleep over 13 million.
Just a night.
A lot of money. Yeah. But
cool.
But that would be my advice. Just don't listen to the fear. You know, realize that you're going to make mistakes. Just know ahead of time you're going to screw up. You're going to make mistakes, and probably the first house you get under contract, maybe even the first few, you're not going to make any money on. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to underestimate the repairs. You're going to overestimate the ARV. And but if you keep pushing and you stay true to yourself and true to your goals, you will eventually succeed. Because this system, the Flip2Freedom and the wholesaling system, it works everywhere in the country.
Right.
I mean, you and me know that. It works everywhere. And anybody that's on this call, they can make it work for them. But, you know, you can't be part of the 95% of people that are never going to do a deal and fail. You got to be able to push through it and not listen to the fears.
Right. So I think, you know, part of me, you know, wanting to do this this broadcast and this teaching people is having you as an inspiration, other than just me saying, yes, you can do it. But what your story has represented as a person that, you know, was there, been through the thing, and now has come out on the other side, and it's worth it. You know what I mean? And now be able to dispel those fears, give them the exact processes they need to do to go out and get results, so they can take the correct actions and go out and do that. So I appreciate you being on here tonight. Thank you so much. You've been a phenomenal story. And just a great example of a leader. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Sean. It's an honor.
Yeah, that sounds good, man. So I will let you go. I'm going to get into the actual details. If you guys are ready, let's get into it. Well, first off, and it was great having Tyler here. Greatly appreciate it. So here's the deal. We're going to talk about actually what he did, actually wholesaling a house and what that means, right? And, you know, you have contracts, you have, you know, talking to sellers, but there are specific processes. First off, you have to wrap your head around the fact that you can do this. And it's literally what we're doing is we're servicing about 3 to 5% of the market. 95% of the people, they want basically retail. We are talking only to 3 to 5% of the marketplace. The majority of the people that we talk to are going to want retail. I know, when it first gets started, it's like you expect everybody to be motivated, right? Everyone's going to be motivated, but they're not. So what we have to do is kind of understand that and create the expectation correctly. So what we do is we target, and specifically target, motivated sellers. We're looking for people that are in a situation where there's an impending event, they have to sell, and we provide that solution for that 3 to 5%. Okay. Otherwise, they just turn around and turn around and sell the house. Like, Tyler's first deal, right? On his first deal there, I got this bug that's like freaking out over here. But on Tyler's first deal, the place was trashed. It was completely trashed. All right, so let's get into the first steps. Once you wrap your head around the fear, I'm going to try to dispel that fear and get over it. So first thing we want to do, I'm actually going to take you into my computer here and show you a case study of a $22,000 deal. From what it looks like, I'm going to show you the contracts we use to sign, the closing statements, and through the process of how it works, so you can kind of get a grasp of what it looks like. So I'm going to take in my computer here. Hide that. I'm going to go boom. All right, so here is the house, okay? This is on Winton. Now, that's a beautiful looking house, isn't it? I'm going to see if I can go back over here. Yeah, there you go. That's the house. Now that is the house. That is not a pretty house right there. We got this property under contract for $50,000. I'm going to go real quick through here. Look at that's a swamp cooler. This is the look at the fascia up there on the back, and the wash machines in the backyard, dishwasher, whatever it is, washer and dryer. Boom! Look at that. That's the back of the yard. You wait till you see the inside. This place is insane. So, but I'm telling you, this was the perfect wholesale deal. Okay, look at the back fence on there. It's ridiculous. Look at that. Oh my gosh, inside of the house, that's a wall actually. Look at that, that's a wall. Look at that, that's all like boarded up inside there. It's just crazy. Look at, someone actually lived and slept in there, which is amazing. Look at the sink area. Now check out this. You got to see the tub. Hold on, you got to see it. Look at that. Look at this right here. Oh, just crazy. Look at that right there. Amazing. This is inside their house. This is how they're living. You know, so you're wondering who sells their house? What type of person sells a, you know, $130,000 house for 50 grand? Right here. Someone that lives like this, right? Now, they can't go list this property with a realtor. They can't do it, right? But guess what? You know, look at the tub. How could they list this property with a realtor? There is no way they can list. A realtor is going to say, "Forget it. You can't do this. It's a mess." Look at this. Right? Yeah. Okay. So that's enough of these pictures right here. So let me go over here. Okay, they're back to screen share. So that is a pretty nasty house. Okay. So now let's go in. Right. We heard from Tyler. Now let's go in and show you exactly the list and how to pull it. Then I'm going to show you the mail piece. Then I'm going to show you the phone system we use. And then so you can start getting out mail immediately. Okay, so let's get into the list. Let me find it for you real quick. Boom. And then I'm going to show my screen. Share. All right. Boom. Okay, well, before we get in the list, I want to show you actually how we got this deal under contract, okay? So here is actually the contract we used to get the property under contract. Then I'm going to show you where the lead comes from and all that. So you see how simple it is. This is a simple, look at this. It's a 2-page contract, okay? It was literally a 2-page contract. This right here is new escrow information, but it's a 2-page contract. There's the address. There's my company. There's the address again, subject property, sale price $50,000, subject to interior inspection. That's an out clause, right? Behind that, buyer to pay all closing costs, right? Defects, no judgments, right here. I'll show you a couple other things. Acceptance, right? Closing date. And here's the thing. This is other agreements. This is what is important in the contract. Agreement is subject to valuation of buyer. That means we have to get a full understanding of the valuation. If we can't, we can get out of this contract with no issues whatsoever. Okay, no issues whatsoever. Look at this. Deposit earnest money. No deposit on here. Typically we do $10, right? But Real Estate Investments LLC, Ontario is agreed to purchase a property to rent, lease, assign, or sell for profit. It is further understood that the buyer is not intending to occupy the property. So here's the important part. We tell them right there, it's intended for profit. We are investors, okay? It's understood we're not going to live there, and I also understood that we don't represent them. We don't represent them in earning, or we're not earning a commission, and sellers should not expect representation from us or any legal fight. So this is the contract, 2-page. They sign it. I sign it, and then boom. Now this gives us something incredibly important. It gives us controlling interest in this property. It gives us equitable interest where then we can turn around and market the property for a potential buyer. So what we did is we turned around. Now we got this property under contract. We put it out to our buyers list, our different buyers, and now we have the ability to then take calls from the buyer and try to market and sell the property for a higher price. Now, we had a buyer that called in off our marketing pieces. Now it's via Craigslist or other different things, and we can show you that, and I'll show you that in actually part 2. And what's going to happen here is we found a buyer. Buyer came in, and we signed this contract with them. Simple purchase contract, a non-refundable $2,500 non-refundable deposit. Here's the address. Here's the information. Look at that, $75,000 here, right? And boom, $50,000 here. Now check this out, right? Boom, right there. So here, and this is a simple contract, and I'm actually going to give you this for free. I'll show you where you can get it on 4/2, right? So 4/2, and we sign this one on 3/27. So about a week later, put it out to the market and got it under contract in a week. This contract right here, all of our contracts have 7-day close. Okay, 7-day close right there after acceptance. Pioneer Title. Boom, boom, boom. Here is this. Here's an addendum that goes with it. Simple, simple contract. Now that you have 2 contracts, right? Now what happens, a title company, an escrow agent, a closing agent, they are now going to take these and they're going to, basically you can do 2 things. You can do an assignment where you sell your contract, or you can do what's called a double escrow, which we did in our case, where you have 2 separate escrows. And on closing day, 7 days later, right? This is a $22,000 deal. 7 days later, then we got it funded. We got closing docs. We signed them, and then we got a check. So let me show you closing docs right here. So this right here, right, is let me see here. Let me get the. All right. So here is the contract we have with the seller, right? $50,000 purchase price. Right, 600, boom, boom. So the seller actually made $30,000 on the deal. They're excited, right? There's a holdback until they got the tenant out. This is rent because it was a rental property. That was a rental property. That's pretty crazy. These are taxes. These are prorated taxes. This is county taxes. Let me see, county taxes. Second half of 2014 Maricopa County taxes. This is a 20% holdback of the contract. So the 20% holdback is until the tenant moves out. This is the balance of their loan, right? Principal balance, 10, and then here's this information. So they walked away with $30,000. So this is what's called a HUD closing. This is what you'll get, right? And then they give you a, this is an affidavit of property value. Right. This, we scroll down. This is a policy, title insurance policy information, buyer information. This is terms and conditions of the escrow. It's every escrow company has it. This is where all, this is all their pages right here. Right? This, let me see, what do we got here? Okay. The undersigned buyer and above reference escrow acknowledge receipt and the approval of a commitment of title. So we agree that we saw the title commitment. Okay. Now here's this right here. The undersigned hereby supplies escrow instructions previously executed the escrow as follows. The parties acknowledge that subject property is simultaneously being acquired for the purchase of $50,000 through Pioneer Title escrow number boom, 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 and sold for a sales price of $75,000 through Pioneer Title boom. Okay, here is this, and look at the seller sign and we sign. It's disclosed right there. Waiver of insurance. Obviously, it's a cash deal. I'm not getting insurance on the property, and that's it. These are the closing documents. It's disclosed right there that both buyer and seller sign off on it. Boom. Okay, now I go down to the sell side. Right, where we turn around and sold it. So here's the sell side, $75,000, right? $2,500 non-refundable earnest money. These are settlement charges. So their total purchase price was 78. Well, not total purchase price is 75, but they paid closing cost and fees. Right? They got a loan. Let me see. What was their loan amount? Did they get a loan? $75,051. So this was our proceeds right here. Cash to seller, $23,995 under deal after paying closing cost. They had no commission. This is a loan fee that they had to pay. Interest, hazard insurance, settlement closing, lender's coverage, owner's coverage, title policy stuff, recording fee, and total sum. That's everything added together. So this is when we sell the property. There's a signature line. Here's the deed that I signed, right? So I'm signing the deed over after I get the deed, of course. $75,000. And there's all the same exact policy information, title policy information. Let's see what this says right here. Let me scroll down a little bit. Proceeds, delivery. Whoa, slow down there. Really. Okay, so we got proceeds right there. This is all the title stuff that we talked about earlier. Okay. By signing below, I hereby authorize release of information on Pioneer Title payoff purchases. Oh, this is just payoff purchases. Right there. Let's keep going. Keep going. This is all the title stuff and their disclaimers and disclosures. Let's keep going. Right. This is the wire information. Where to send the wire. Seller non-foreign status. Obviously, I'm not a foreigner. So I signed that I'm not a foreigner. Vacant land non-exempt form. Okay. Undersigned and knowledge receipt of your title commitment. We did that. Let's go through here. And then here we go. Here is the disclosure right here. Disclosure to the buyer, right? Parties acknowledge the property simultaneously purchase price, boom, 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 through title. Get the docs. There's the lender. Lender signs off on it. And then here we go. Boom, boom, boom. All the information. And these are just the affidavits, owner's affidavit, indemnification, right? And supplement. So this right here is the closing docs, okay? This is what we signed for the closing docs. And these are the purchase contracts, okay? So now, right? If we go, okay, pretty cool, right? So now we know exactly where those contracts come from. So now, those are the contracts. So I wanted, in hoping for me to show you what those contracts are, hopefully what that will do is kind of take away the fear. You get a contract with a seller, you get a contract with a buyer. Now, in this particular case, it's a simultaneous close. Buyer came in with 100% of the funds, right? And then purchased the property. So what happens, guess what? You know, we came out of zero money out of pocket, $0, no money out of pocket for this particular deal, okay? Zero money out of pocket. So we come with zero money out of pocket. The cool thing is that now, right, we can turn around and make over, what, $22,000, $23,000 on the deal. All right, so now I'm going to take you into the list source that we pulled it. Okay, it's in the, let me take you in right now. I'm going to share my screen. Share. We're going to go here to Rebo Gateway. So here's Rebo Gateway. Okay, share my screen with you. Now, Rebo Gateway at rebogateway.com. Okay, it's a county search. So you can do by county, and they have multiple different lead sources, right? They got divorce, empty nester, estate sales, for sale by owner. They got non-owner occupant out of state, notice of default, notice of sale, tax default, probate. Okay. Then they have other CRM stuff they have in here. The cool thing is it's only about $300 a year, and it is $300 a year for as much as you want to download. $300 a year for as much as you want to download. It's the cheapest thing I've ever seen. So if we go in and we're going to go through and we're going to search tax default in Phoenix, and I'm going to reset the filter here because I'm going to show you something really cool. I'm going to go submit. I'm going to show you a lead source that is so hot that I can't say it's a guaranteed deal, but it's probably one of the best deals you can go after, especially starting out right now, starting out brand new. So if you're on here, so it's 6,782 deals, right? 6,782. So now, how do we tighten that down? Now, if you wanted, you could go to Rebuild Gateway and you could download. Right? Download those. But now let's tighten that up a little bit. Let's go to filter. Now there's a lot of different filter options. We can do it by city, state, zip code. We can do it by transfer value, lot size, number of bed, bath, years built, which is incredibly important. So you can go 10 years built if you want. Right? So let's go in and let's just get rid of here and get rid of here. And we're going to do just absentee owners. Okay? Just absentee owners. And that's that. So all we're going to do is get rid of everything but absentee owners, and we're going to press submit. We're going to see if we can get that list a little bit smaller. Okay. Now look at, there's still 2,000. That's a pretty big list. So we got absentee owners that are in tax default. Now let's filter it again. Let's go through and go all of the properties that are notice of default. Now they're in pre-foreclosure, submit. Okay. 121. These properties are absentee owners, right? That are, let me see. I want to make sure they're absentee owners. Filter. Absentee owners, notice of default, right? Let's get notice of sale too. Submit. These are notice of sale too. So 218 records. All these right here. Right here. This one right here, huge deal. Granada, Phoenix, look at that. This house right here is notice of sale. And it has a tax default, okay? This one has a phone number. You can call her if you want. That's 218. You can either, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can download this list. Now, you can go here, Rebuild Marketing. You can go export, and you can export a CVS file right there, and you can literally send out 218 letters of the most targeted, oh, I just did it, targeted, focused, motivated sellers that I know. I mean, this is incredible. Even, this is comparable to the inheritance list. Okay, it's incredible, but a lot cheaper. $300 a year for as many as you can download. So now let's go in here. We got filter. We got 218. Let's go owner occupant now and get out of absentee owner. Notice the default, notice the sale, submit. Let's see what owner occupants are. Thinking, look at that, 293 of owner occupants. These are owner occupants that haven't paid taxes. Haven't paid their property taxes and are about to lose their house in foreclosure. You think they're motivated? Those are highly, highly motivated people. Okay. Now you can even filter down to year built. So let's say if we go 01-01-1900, and we're going to go to 01-01- let's call it 2000. I haven't done this search before, but let's include absentee owner. Submit. No, so there is no deals of that unless I'm doing it wrong. Let me see. Now let's include this and this. Let's go to 2003. See, submit. Oh, so there's no. So there is none that are built of that age. Okay, so that's what that means. So we'll get rid of that. So submit. And it's thinking. There we go. There's 765. So we've got both. These people notice the default. These are all condominiums, 2 units for owner occupant that are tax default. Okay, and we can do a divorce, right? We can do just non-owner occupants if you want. So there's a lot of different things. So I recommend doing tax default, filter, right? Get rid of condos and 2 to 4 units right there. Focus on maybe absentee owners, notice of sale, right? On a very small list that you can mail, 218. If you want to have more names, add an owner occupant, boom, there you go. And it should be, what was it? What did we say? It was like 400 something, 400 names. Actually 511. There we go. All right, so now you take the list and you've downloaded the list, right? Now you want to mail it out, but where do you mail it out to? Well, you can go here at Flip2Freedom, gobigprinting.com/Flip2Freedom. gobigprinting.com/Flip2Freedom. Now you go here, you can press enter, right? And then you can create a free account, log in, right? And then you go to here and you go to direct mail. And then here is letters. Here are the yellow letters we send. This is a generic yellow letter. This right here is a yellow letter that we've customized and used, and this is the one that we use. Okay. And you have your last name, it's customized, and you'll have your phone number and your information in there. Okay, it's very easy to do. And then postcards, right? We've been trying to reach you. Here's the postcard that I use right here. And here's another one right here. Both of these convert awesome. And then if you don't like that one, there's a ton of other ones. Look at doodle letters with envelopes. Here's a probate letters. Here's formal letters. Here's foreclosure letters. Here is buying houses letters. I mean, postcards. See, look at that. Urgent notice. Want to buy your house? Look at this. Boom. Right? I buy houses. These are tear-offs. Right? So you can have a tear-off business card on here. All these are incredible. But you have access to all this for free. Okay? Investors buying houses. These are all great, great letters. Okay? These are ones recreated. These are other ones we had input on, and these are awesome. Okay, so this is Go Big Printing. It's typically for Flip2Freedom Academy members only, but I'm going to let you guys in for free. All you got to do is go to gobigprinting.com/Flip2Freedom, and you can go in there. Now you can, let's go back here real quick, and we're going to go postcard. We're going to go, that's the cheapest, and we're going to go order. Right, and you can put in your information here. Right, put in your number 623-555-12113-232. Your number, Bill Johns Johnson. Your address, where you want it. You can pick your color. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4 Main Street. Boom, boom. Let's say you want to do pink, right? Testimonial, Bobby M. State. You can even pick the state. You can pay, okay, Florida. What if it's in Florida, right? Testimonial. You can even change the testimonial if you want and do that. Order name, test 2, right? Continue. Right? Now select list. So now guess what? You go through and you can turn around and you can select your list and continue, and then you're done. Where does it put your, right? And you can upload your list. And then it'll ask you to put your phone number in, what phone number you want to have, and then you're good to go. So let me go back to home. We got to here, direct mail. Go back to postcards. Whoops. Okay, so phone number. See, you can change your phone number, put all your information there, pick a color, pick the thing, and you're done. That is how easy it is to customize it. And then you upload your list, you press send. It's 40, or is it 49? It's 39 cents. 39 cents for the postcard to mail out, and you could have this list from Rebo Gateway, turn around mailing it to here, right? So these guys right here, you could do that as a step today, where you could get your mail out today, okay? So then you're wondering, okay, well, how do I get a number? Do I send it to Google Voice? Do I send it to my cell phone? What do I do? We use what's called CallRail, okay? If you go to, let me go CallRail. This is CallRail right here. CallRail, that's what it looks like. Okay, and the cool thing, it has call tracking everywhere. It records phone calls if you want, dynamic number insertion, agency call tracking, set up numbers instantly, no contract required, which is really good. And the pricing on here, for 10 numbers, 100 text messages. I think it's like, what is it? I don't know, where does it say pricing? Oh, $30 a month right there. 14 free trial. And there's the information. It's really, really cheap. So if I go back to CallRail over here, you can look, you can see, has all the phone numbers come in, and you can go in. These are all our different channels. You want to have, for each marketing channel, you want to have a different phone number so you can track the amount of calls coming in. So all you got to do is add a number, right? I'll use it offline. Now I'm going to create one here, but you just source name, put your information in, right? Test 480-333-2333. Select phone number. You can go through now and select phone number. You can change area code, right? You can select phone number. I wouldn't use an 800 number, and go next, and then the phone thing is active. You have an active phone number right now that you can use, that you go back into Go Big Printing right here. You go back here and you put the phone number, and now you can track exactly the calls coming in. You can have it go to a voicemail. You can have it go direct to you. You can have it go, but at least you know all the calls coming in, and if you want it to go to voicemail, you can. If you work with a virtual assistant, this is a great way to be able to use that. You can answer it live to a virtual assistant and then go to voicemail after hours, and you can manage everything in here, which is phenomenal. Okay, so that is that. That is exactly right there, right? How to manage all that. Now you're wondering, okay, what do I say to the seller? So let's go here. This is my strategic seller script, right? And I'm going to give you this for free. I'm going to show you a place you can download it for free. Hi, seller name. This is Sean. I got a voicemail, I'll call, sent you a postcard or a letter regarding a house address, and am I catching a good time? If no, when would be a better time to talk? If yes, perfect. How you doing today? Listen for the opportunity to build rapport. Are you the owner and decision maker of the property? That's a very good question. You want to ask that, so you make sure you're not talking to a tenant, the son, the daughter. You want to be talking to the decision maker and make an appointment with that decision maker. Perfect. Can you please tell me about the property you're looking to sell? Let them talk. Do not interrupt them, and fill out details in Podio. When they're done talking, okay, Mr. Seller, what about gathering info? Okay. When they're done talking, say, okay, Mr. Seller, what about, and then ask them about the, the bed, like how many bed and bath the property had, the property square footage, the condition of the property, how the roof is, all that stuff. Thank you, Mr. Seller. What's the condition of the AC and when it was replaced? Thank you, Mr. What's the age of the roof? These are all big ticket items. Great. Now, how about the plumbing and the electric? Any issues there? So let me ask you, Mr. Seller, what made you decide to sell the property? Now, this is where you listen. Because what's going to happen now is they're going to tell you specifically why they want to sell the property. They paused for 7 to 10 seconds. They'll keep talking. Keep listening. Okay, listen about that. Thank you, Mr. Seller. I appreciate that. Be empathetic, and then tell a story or build a rapport. Tell a rapport building story. So, Mr. Seller, how soon would you like to sell? They're going to say, well, so Mr. Seller, do you have a mortgage on the property? You own it outright? So this is important right here, because this tells you how fast they want to sell. They go, I want to sell right now. Okay. Okay, what's the balance owed? Okay, great. Now, let me explain what we do. First off, we look for properties that fit specific criteria that we can renovate and resell for profit, or if it makes sense to purchase and buy and hold rentals. There are 3 key benefits of working with us. We pay cash and we buy properties as is condition, so you don't have to spend unnecessary money fixing up the property. This could save you thousands of dollars depending on the condition. We can close on your time frame. This way you can guarantee the price and guarantee close date. Now you're not guessing and you can make future plans. You also save $1,000 by not paying commissions and closing costs. Most commissions are 6% or higher and closing costs up to 3% of sales price. Now, my team and I have bought and sold over a blank amount of properties, and 90% of the time we can pay more than other investors, and in some cases net you more than selling with a realtor. With that in mind, Mr. Seller, what's the lowest price you need to sell the property at? Do you have any, if you don't have to pay commissions or closing costs or fees or have to fix anything, and then don't say a word. That's a closing question. How much are you thinking about selling it for? And let them come back with a price. And whatever the price, you could go, ouch, right? Now, depending on the story, you can either A, book an appointment, or you can negotiate. We're not sure we want to, or we're not sure we want to give you a price, they say. If there's motivation, book an appointment. I like to come and see the property and meet you. I can do 10 a.m. or 2 p.m. or on Tuesday, which would be best for you. That's an alternate choice close. Great. One more question, Mr. Seller. We're looking to buy one property in the next several weeks. Let's say if the house fits our criteria and we can agree on terms and price, are you capable of making a decision to sell the property when we meet? Okay. So that is incredibly important. Why would we ask that? One, because we're looking to see if we're going to get the deal right now. If they say, yes, I'm looking to sell it right now and I can make a decision, boom, now you're making a appointment with the decision maker that it can sign a contract on the spot. Perfect. I look forward to meeting you at Tuesday at 10 a.m. If no motivation, okay, Mr. Seller, I'm going to look at some comparable properties and determine the most amount we can pay for the property, and I'll send you a cash offer. Which is the best, fax or email or snail mail? Which is best for you, fax, email, or snail mail? So this is important because now what's happening is either A, you're setting an appointment, or B, you're sending an offer. Either way, okay? Now, on next week's webinar training, we're going to talk about, on Tuesday, we're going to talk about specifically how to make the offer, what to make the offer for. I'm going to show you comps on this particular property, on the one on Winton we talked about, the pictures I showed you, and we're going to show you how to do it. Now, listen for these triggers of motivation: foreclosure, bankruptcy, loss of employment, tax lien, judgment, back taxes, IRS lien, child support issue, can't afford payments, need cash, right? Physical distress, property boarded up, code violation, fire damage, trash rental, water damage, abandoned, vacant, divorce, right? Seller in jail, transferred, rental vacancy, age, elderly, inheritance, probate, liquidation, death in the family, want to downside, bad investment. These are all things that you can listen for, right? For indications of motivation that will that you can then set an appointment. Even if a seller gives you a higher price, go ahead and set the appointment if you hear some sort of this motivation that's right here. If not, then you can say, okay, let me check the comparable sales, and you can send an offer. Those are the only two things. Now, someone calls up and said, take me off your list. Take them off your list. But the bottom line is you can use this script, and it gives you 2 different paths. Make an appointment, or you can actually send an offer. Both of them, now you're in front of the seller. Now, what's going to happen is either an offer is going to come back signed, or they're going to call back and want to negotiate. Or if you go on the appointment, you'll get the contract, okay? Now, I'm going to give you this seller script for free, okay? For free, I'm going to show you where you can download it. So now you know where to get the list. You know where to get the mailers, right? You know where to get the mailer. Go Big Printing at Flip2Freedom, and we're going to give you the links to this too, right? ReboGateway.com, and this is gobigprinting.com/Flip2Freedom. And this is Rebo Gateway, Flip2Freedom. And we've got where to get this. This is callrail.com, and this is where you get the phone number. And that is, and I'm going to show you where you get your seller script as well. All right. Whew. All right. So now, let's talk, and we'll wrap this up. I want this to give you some great Great information that you can use, right? That you can use right now, that you can do it. My whole motivation to doing this is to have you have Tyler inspire you, right? Inspire the living heck out of you so you can go out and do it yourself. Now I'm going to give you the tools, right? And show you that you can flip houses and you can do it with no funding. The deal I showed you, what Tyler did, right? He did it with absolutely no funding, right? With that $22,000 deal, the buyer wired in 75 grand. We closed it simultaneously. And then guess what? $50,000 went to the seller. The difference went to us, $23,000. And then boom, the buyer got the house. Now he got the house and he had to go fix it up and take care of it and he's turning around and reselling the property. Okay. So incredibly important, right? So the bottom line is now you have the ability to turn around and be able to generate revenue off that. Okay. You can turn around and do that. Then I showed you the best list to target. Tax default list. Someone that's in pre-foreclosure. And guess what? If you mail that niche list using the postcard or the yellow letter, you will get calls and you'll get deals. Then I even gave you the script, exactly what to say and how to say it. So now you know exactly what to say. So on next week, what we're going to do is we're going to go in detail. And I'm going to show you specifically the next steps. Now that you booked the appointment or you're going to send the contract, how to determine the correct offer price. Okay, how to determine the correct offer price. Then I'm going to show you, right, exactly after you determine the correct offer price, how to go meet with the seller and present that offer logically, systematically, so they make that understanding. Now you get the property under contract, and that is the first step. That is for once you get the property under contract, and it's a good deal, right? You're talking to Tyler. You heard Tyler. He said, guess what? If you contract it for too high, you underestimate repairs and you overestimate ARV. If you get the property under contract correctly, then guess what? You can have a smoking deal that you can turn around and sell. And that's what I want for you. I want you guys to get massive checks. And I want you to overcome the fear to be able to do it. I want you to have Tyler give you inspiration. You might have to sacrifice a little bit on your time so you can get that deal and it can change your life. Okay? Change your life for the better. And I know you can do it. You have the ability to make it happen. I know you do. Okay, because I did it. I'm a dork. You know, the bottom line is you have the ability to do it. You can do it. I believe in you. I know you can do it, and you can make it happen. So here's the deal. Where do you get all the free stuff to download? Go to flip2freedom.com/free stuff. Now I'm going to make sure it's there. Okay, flip2freedom.com. flip2freedom.com/free stuff. Free stuff. So flip2freedom.com/free stuff. flip2freedom.com/free stuff. Okay, and I'm just looking at my screen right now. So, okay, here it is. Go to flip2freedom.com/free, and it's all lowercase, free, F-R-E-E, stuff, S-T-U-F-F. Okay, flip2freedom.com/free stuff, and it's yours. Okay, when you go there, you can click it, and boom, and it'll also allow you to register for the next event. Okay, you can register for the next event that we're having on Tuesday, and on Tuesday, we'll put the whole thing together. Right? Obviously, if we can't do this, we'll be on a call for another 2 more hours, right? You know, to go through this thing. I want to basically break this up, give you action steps. So here's your homework. Your homework number 1 is to go to Rebo Gateway tomorrow and get signed up. Get signed up, get the annual thing, get your county, and get signed up. And make sure you tell them that Sean Terry sent you. Tell them that Sean Terry sent you, and they might have a special deal for you. I'm working on some stuff. So go there. And they might give you, ask him for 2 counties for 1 deal. I want to get 2 counties for 1. Okay, do that. 2 counties for 1. Tell them that Sean Terry sent you, and Rebo Gateway. Call them up. Now, I would suggest don't sign up online. Make sure you go in and call them on their support number. Call them on the phone and tell them you want to sign up and you want to have them do a walkthrough and show you. And you want to see if there's any special deal like the 2 for 1, and tell them that Sean Terry told you to call. Call them first. That's Rebo Gateway. Then go over to gobigprinting.com/flip2freedom. all lowercase. And then you can sign up for that for free, and you can have access to my entire mail house. You can use the mail that we send to our sellers. Then get your phone number over at CallRail. So now you got your list, you got your mail system, you got your phone number, right? Now you're ready. You're set to where now you can turn around and you can start using the script to bring incoming calls from sellers, and you're going to book an appointment, you're going to send an offer. Next week, we're going to talk about how to make the offer, how to present it to the seller, and how to make it rock. Okay, so I hope you had an awesome time. Thank you so much. Tyler, again, thank you so much for your time. And I'm sorry we had some technical difficulties in there. And otherwise, I will see you on the next training, part 2. Make sure you register. You're not going to want to miss it. Take care, and God bless.